Welcome back to Dadnarok presents the Wandavision After show. Forgot what show we were doing there for a second. This is Sean.
And this is Chris.
Hey, tonight we're going to talk about the series finale, both the title of the episode and what it actually is, the series finale of WandaVision, episode 9. But before we begin, go ahead and give the channel a like. You know the drill by now. It helps out the channel if you're able to visit us on YouTube. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, all that good stuff. Really helps us out and lets you know what else we're going to be doing now that WandaVision is over.
Yeah, it's over. Oh man, and buckle in. I mean, really, this was this was fantastic. I was so worried going into today. Like I had the bar set so high for a show, and anytime you do that for a show, for a movie, for anything, you are in a spot of letting yourself down because the show isn't doing that to you. You are doing that to yourself, and I put myself in a very precarious situation, and I was nervous, and then I was extremely happy.
I'm glad it worked out for you. Sounds like you really liked it.
Oh, I loved every minute of this finale here, or a series finale, essentially. I mean, what was your? I mean, that's kind of my thinking before we get into spoilers. What was your initial thoughts once you finished watching it?
So I did like it. I don't think I'm as high on it as you are. I felt all the emotional reactions, like the emotional portions of it, as far as the story between Vision and Wanda and the kids, that all hit for me. Some of the flying around, shooting magic at each other, finale stuff, a lot of stuff that was talked about, like you were mentioning, we all kind of got hyped up about these theories between, the Fantastic Four and Reed Richards and mutants coming in and what's Quicksilver and who's Ralph and where's Mephisto. All this stuff that ended up really not being in the show. We all kind of let our imaginations get the better of us. And really not one, kind of entered into the show. But that being said, I mean, between the overall successful landing of the plot threads, the overall questions as far as where we go from here with Wanda and with Monica and with, the white clone Vision and all that stuff, it leaves some very interesting threads. So, I'm here for it.
Yeah, I mean, I loved. I can see where you're getting at when it comes to, the Wanda and Agatha up in the sky and throwing, magic at each other and the whole deal.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved it. It fed right into that commercial, feeding on your magic.
Right. Yo, magic.
Yeah. They told us exactly what this was going to be well before we got here. So if you were paying attention to those commercials, that was the first one that was not about her past. That was about her future.
Right.
And it was almost, it turned out to be not so much Agatha feeding off of Wanda's magic. She flipped the switch on her. Yeah. And just did her in. It was, oh man, I enjoyed it. I loved it. I watched it again. Doing the clips, I was stopping on certain important parts because it just felt right.
Yeah. So let's get into it. I mean, the show opens up with how it ended last episode with Agatha. She's got the two boys, Billy and Tommy, in her possession, and they seem to be in pain. They're in peril, and Wanda and Agatha basically start throwing down a couple of witches here in Westview, just going at it.
Yeah, she warns her, so I'm not within your room. I can use my magic now. And she's like
I'm counting on it.
Counting on it. Yeah, I'm like, hold on. What's actually going on here?
She wasn't even shy about it. She was like, bring it. That's what I need from you. Because I take the power from those that are undeserving of it.
Yeah, and that was crazy. Because when she hit her the first time and then knocked her all back, and all of a sudden you've seen Wanda's hand go dark.
Right.
Like it was almost dying. It was a crazy scene. And Wanda realizing, hold on, I may be in over my head. I don't know who she is. I don't know what she's capable of doing. All I know is I'm a badass.
Yeah.
And can I figure this out? And then she hits her with a car.
Yeah, she goes, she backs up to some of her old school, like, Age of Ultron powers and stuff that she did in Avengers. Just, "Let me pick some stuff up and throw it at you. Big, heavy object."
That was funny. I enjoyed that. And then it was the whole did you get the I don't know if it was purposely done,
The
but the Wizard
reference
of Oz.
with the boots under the car, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I got the
good.
Wizard of Oz feel from it, and then they, go away.
Mhm.
And I mean, you see White Vision
Oh,
all of a
yeah.
sudden show up, and he is very unimpressed with Wanda.
Oh, he
Uh,
does the old skull crusher on her, like, Crush from the WWF back in the old day, just like, "Ah," crushing the head. That looked like
oh,
it hurt, and
oh yeah.
it looked like Wanda had too much time left, but right in the nick of time, the Westview version of Vision flies in and saves the day.
The back and forth between them in this episode
That was great.
was great. And
Yeah.
I mean, we know Paul Bettany was just trolling us because the
Yeah,
actor
he was.
he always wanted to work with was himself.
Sure. He
I
really
think
got one over on a lot of folks.
I think they enjoyed so much because you have Tom Holland who will let things slip
Right.
and they don't even tell him anything anymore. Then you have these two who are purposely feeding into us what we do with complete falsehoods.
Overanalyzing every interview that's out there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the little words they say, little things. Can we? What's this mean? And they're sitting back. They're just laughing, watching it, watching us go crazy.
Yeah.
Just kind of making our own things. And even we built so many fan theories up. The actual director of the show came out and said some group of fans will be disappointed in the ending because
Mhm.
it's not going to live up to the theories that they have, come up with.
Yeah, and that's kinda what I mentioned earlier is that a lot of people were talking about things like Mephisto and the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, and rightfully so. I mean, we all know what's going on here. They own the X-Men and Fantastic Four now. Something like this would be, kind of a prime there's a lot of focus on it. It would be a prime way for them to tease the next characters and introduce them into, something that's not their own, right? I mean, they used to do that in the comics. I mean, that's where Spider-Man was introduced in a Fantastic Four comic. That's just like the way Marvel does things.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
no, it was I mean, they trolled us huge
yeah,
when it came down to Quicksilver and Evan Peters and being the X-Men from the Fox universe and
just Ralph Boner.
man, he just yeah, we get this scene right here. Let's go ahead and take a check look at it here.
You're Ralph Boner?
Boner.
How is she controlling you?
You want to tussle again? Hmm? Huh? Huh?
Yeah, she's feisty. Oh, God, please spare my life.
Dude.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, as soon as that necklace was broken, he snapped like Vision touched his head
yeah, he snapped out of it.
and he came back. And that scene right there went ahead and debunked a couple things for us when it came to fan theories. For
Right,
one, he wasn't Quicksilver.
right,
Two, Ralph was just Mr. Boner.
right. Just a Westview resident. That's it.
Yeah, just some stoner, that she was referring to over and over and over again. Not Mephisto at all. It
Right.
was some dude living upstairs in probably in his mother's house.
Yeah, and Agatha took over, and she lived with him. That's why she kept referring back to him, Ralph.
Yeah. I mean, that was such I mean, they dealt with and this is like expert level misdirection.
Yeah, yeah.
When you're dealing with one character and you actually put two things on him.
I think upfront in the upfront portion of this fight too, when Agatha and Wanda are going at it, Agatha pulls the move of basically snapping all the residents of Westview out of their trance
Yeah.
to have one. This was the first one where I was like, whoa. A lot of these emotional beats are what got me. The flashing and flying around and stuff, and the typical Marvel stuff that like people go to the movie theater and eat the popcorn to see.
Yeah.
I was less about and more about like the consequences. Oh God, Wanda, you've messed some stuff up here and you've messed with these people's lives hardcore, and it's time to face the
We seen
consequences of
Dottie
that.
again for the first time since that one episode, and she talks about letting her daughter out of the bedroom so she
Yeah.
can hold her. How
And
do you
she
not
pleads with
feel
her.
that?
She's like, "How about this storyline where the kids are let out and I can hug my daughter again?" And you just feel like this anguish, like, "Geez, Wanda."
Yeah.
But that's the thing. It's like it plays with this dark and light. That's why WandaVision has been such a successful representation of the Scarlet Witch character, because Scarlet Witch has been both. She has been both villain and hero, and even though this is like a monstrous thing to do to these townspeople, she kind of did it inadvertently. She didn't set like, okay, well, I'm going to do this. This we found out in the other episode that this was all like an emotional thing, where
Yeah.
she had a grief-stricken moment, and out of that, she was kind of like didn't really know what happened herself.
Yeah, exactly.
So her magic was kind of like self-contained and doing its own thing. Even though it was born from her, she didn't have complete control over what was going on.
She didn't control the environment she was in because she figured that out. But the rest of the
Yeah.
hex itself, she really didn't know how she formed it. Now she
Right.
knew she can grow it if need be, what she did. But I think once she did do that, it went ahead and it weakened her to a certain extent as well.
Yeah.
Because it was a bigger space that she was having more and more control, harder control over, I should say.
And Agnes knew. Agnes knew this was the exact right thing to do in that moment. She needed to leverage these townspeople against Wanda, because she knows at the end of the day, Wanda isn't a monster, and would have harsh feelings about all these townspeople, the way they're looking at her and pleading for her to like stop this. So, and ultimately she does. She tells Wanda, heroes don't torture people, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, at the end of the day, that's not a false statement.
No, not either.
Agnes is not lying to her.
Yeah, she said, I went ahead and cut all their puppet strings, and they all start talking to her. Then she freaks out.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden she has another blast, and basically she wraps things around these people's necks to shut them up.
Right.
And then she immediately realizes what she did and lets them all go.
She's like, y'all got to get the heck out of here.
Well, then the Miss Hart character was like, if you're not going to let us go, just go ahead and let us die. And
Yeah,
like,
that's the level of pain and anguish that they were in. That's a level of essentially torture that they were going through, that they were ready for that. And that's just like horrendous.
Yeah. And you see the pain in Wanda's eyes and
Sure.
in her face, because she's feeling pain on so many levels.
Yeah.
She's feeling pain on, dealing with her loss. Now she's feeling pain because she realizes what she's really doing to these people.
Yeah.
So now she feels their pain, and the only thing she can do is let them go. So she then opens up the hex, which opens up a whole other can of worms.
Yeah, because meanwhile, her boys, Billy and Tommy, they feel the pain she's going through, and they come out to help her. As she's bringing the hex down, we start to see the folks escape. But as the magic kind of weakens around Westview, we see Vision and Billy and Tommy start to come apart. We were kind of getting confirmation. We saw it with Vision before, where he stepped out of the hex, and now we're getting confirmation with Billy and Tommy that they are not real corporeal, forms that could just step out of this thing. Like, if this illusion around Westview goes, then they go too.
Well, Agnes said your fantasy is connected to your family.
Yeah.
And if the X comes down, you lose everything. So you have to choose your family or torturing these people within Westview. Right. And then Agatha comes up with the falsehood saying, I can give you both. I can release them, and you can still have your fantasy with your family.
Yeah. Yeah, this entire time it's very, classic good against evil, the temptation, right? Agatha was kind of trying to bargain, laying out these deals, like, just give me that power, because you don't know what the heck you're doing with it. I know, and I know how to contain it and use it.
I don't think she knew, honestly. I don't think she fully understood the power that Wanda has, because
it's just the amount of fear. Every time she talked about the Scarlet Witch and chaos magic and that chapter in the Darkhold, there was a level of fear in her voice as she's talking about this stuff. Like, that she's not like confident that she'll be able to contain this herself.
Yeah. No, like you were saying, we got the typical Marvel, action scene, because when that's going on, you had White Vision and then Westview Vision fighting above them. So you have Wanda on the ground and all the townspeople coming free of her control. Mm-hmm. And then you had the two Visions up in the air fighting, and they're going back and forth. And while you're seeing this, all of a sudden you're seeing the hex open.
Right.
And all of a sudden you see the Westview Vision start to become weaker. And then he gets blasted and you see him go right into the ground.
Yeah.
And that's when you see Wanda, she's kind of like opening it up. but you see her boys running, and they're on the ground, and they're now coming apart. And you have Vision coming apart. You see Vision now. This one of those another feeling moments. You hear Vision yelling to the boys, and like all of a sudden Wanda realizes what's going on. So then she lets go, and then this is when Shield is finally not Shield. Sword is in there.
Yeah, because they used the opportunity once that hex was open to start driving right through the gate.
Yeah. So all of a sudden, all four of them are standing together, and then the military's there, and Vision was like, "Oh no," Wanda was like, "This is what we didn't prepare you for this, but this is what you were born for."
Yeah, you were born for it. So go. You take care of the military. I'm gonna take care of Agatha. That kind of thing.
Yeah, and then Vision took off towards the other Vision, and then they had an amazing like back and forth. Once they were in like the library.
Right.
They had an awesome back and forth about the ship of Theseus or something like that.
Well, yeah. So there's this theory, right, where it's like, and it takes different forms too. Say, like even a human body. Like if you start to replace yourself with different pieces and parts, say with like robotic limbs and your organs and your skin. At one point, are you not you? You know?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. The same metaphor with a ship. And basically, Westview Vision asks this theological question of White Vision, because White Vision's mission was to destroy the other Vision. But it's like, well, I'm not Vision, but at the same time, I am Vision. So it's kind of like does not compute. You know, he knew how to get the best of the
something to the
robot.
extent is like he confused them.
Yeah,
he's like, I need more
input. I need more information. Yeah,
exactly. So they start talking back and forth. And then when he's like, hold on, because you see the White, you actually start to see Vision within the White Vision.
Yeah.
You start to see him contemplate. You start to see Age of Ultron Vision, like the very beginning of Ultron.
Right.
Ultron of a Vision. So you see that one there. When he's like saying back in Age of Ultron, we can't do this alone. We got to do it together. That one.
Yeah.
So when he's going back and forth with him, but I mean, the biggest like punch to me was when they're talking back and forth, and he's like, they can't just erase your memory. And then he goes ahead and he touches his forehead, and we get this here.
Hey, how about that?
And I wanted that chip to stay yellow. I didn't want it to go back to blue. That was the one thing I wanted. I wanted it to stay yellow.
Yeah, that's the question with where does White Vision go from here? Because it's like I was kind of expecting the two to merge.
That was a big theory. Yeah.
We got a little bit of that because, you know, if Westview Vision unlocks the memories of himself in this new form of Vision, I think we can eventually get to that point. But I guess they didn't want to do it right away. I mean, that leaves Vision in an interesting place where once again, Westview Vision, later in this episode, once again has to say goodbye to Wanda for the third and fourth time. These two. But this, you know, White Vision is going to have to go through his own character arc and growth and becoming whole again.
Who he is,
yeah. So that leaves him in an interesting place. So I thought that whole dynamic, how they ended Vision's storyline in this the series finale was great.
That was the only honest loose end I have in the show, because once that scene takes place, he's gone. He just
he bounces, doesn't he?
Yeah, he pulls a Bruce Banner. He just takes off and bye.
Yeah, well, he's got more important things to do. He's like, he probably can calculate how this is going to end. So he's just like, well, I need to go take care of myself.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was fun. I mean, just the back and forth, just Vision talking to Vision, and how calculated and how like deep that conversation can get, and with them both doing it to each other, it felt right. It didn't feel forced or anything.
These theological conversations that Vision has. I mean, the conversation at the end of Age of Ultron between Ultron and Vision was probably my favorite scene in that movie. I mean, it's just a kick butt movie with a ton of great action scenes. but the two CG robot characters
Standing
at
in the
the end,
forest. Yeah.
yeah, standing on that hill talking to each other was just like, wow. You really made me care about these two CG robots standing there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, and then while that's all going on, you still have Agnetha and Wanda.
Yeah.
Now they're hovering above those two. They kind of just flip the script.
And this was like full-fledged Marvel 2 CG characters flying around with lasers and light shows and beams getting thrown at each other. It was for a few minutes. I think maybe it ran a little long between all the back and forth with them flying around. But yeah, that was intense. Some of the action that was going on there.
Yeah, it came down to like Wanda was like, well, she was playing the angle of take it, I don't want it. Was trying to give her
Right.
all her magic. She was like, get rid of it. I just don't want anything to do with it. I don't know what I'm doing with it. Just take it and get out of my life. I want nothing to do with you either.
Right.
And right when Agnetha thought she had her where she wanted her, all of a sudden you see those as ruins all of a sudden on the hex.
Yeah, and she basically thanks her for the lesson from the previous episode.
Yeah,
but
because
maybe
instead of being in a basement or in a house, the hex is her house.
Right.
So she went ahead and basically said, if you're within my hex, you can't use your magic.
This is my house. Agatha is not welcome here.
Oh, that's nice. I like the crossover there. But man, it was crazy. Then all of a sudden you see like Wanda just kind of sitting there and kind of like she's almost drained. And then you see like the life come back to her hands and her face. And then all of a sudden you see Agnetha's look in her eyes. And she's like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Like, what? Because she tried to kill her. She told her, that her spell will always be broken. She will always be broken. And then she tried to do some type of magic on her. And it just did nothing. She got like a little poof.
Yeah, it was like when Thanos tried to snap when not having any Infinity Stones in the gauntlet.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, it comes down to like, oh man, she just didn't have it. I had something else in my brain. I just lost it. But
well, like we talked about,
fear. It was the fear, the same fear that we seen in her eyes when she broke character, when the boys were born. Do you want to roll this again? You want me to do it again? It was that fear I seen in her face for a second time.
Yeah. Agatha's very interesting character in this show. And I hope, and I think we will, because everybody was so in love with Catherine Hahn's performance of her that she's definitely coming back at some point. But just the overall fear, like she has a better understanding of what Scarlet Witch, I guess the chaos magic that Scarlet Witch uses. I mean, Wanda seems to be pretty confident when she lets loose, and she has the runes on the side of the hex and everything. She's like, I know, I'm fully aware of who I am, and she kind of comes out of that moment in her full MCU Scarlet Witch form, right? Just that badass outfit.
Yeah, let's just call it for what it is, a very hot outfit.
Yeah, a lot more detailed than that Halloween costume from the Malcolm in the Middle episode. But at the same time, it's like, does Wanda actually know? Because at the end of this episode, and we'll talk about it later, it looks like she's doing a lot of studying.
At the point, she's realizing she's more powerful than she realizes.
Yeah.
We get this whole scene while they're up there fighting.
You don't know what you've done.
Yeah, there we go.
I love that fear from Agnetha.
Yeah.
Because she's always been the big dog.
Yeah.
And she knows she's not anymore.
She's been supplanted, yeah.
Oh, man. And the fact that she's like, you have no idea what you've done.
Right. Yeah. And then she's scared of what Wanda's going to do for her. Like, what are you going to put me away? Are you going to lock me up? Are you going to, destroy me kind of thing? And Wanda's like, no, I'm just going to turn you into what you wanted to be from the get-go here, the nosy neighbor, and just like puts this trance on her and turns her into this like okie dokie artichokey.
Dude, that was probably more torturous than anything.
Yeah.
Because if she's still there, she still has her own mind, but she knows she's being controlled.
She's stuck as a
so she can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
So it was diabolic, really, to use a word.
I don't know if she's going to still be living with Ralph Boner, or if she's got Mr. Scratchy still with her or what. But she's going to be in Westview. We know where she is.
Yeah, we know where to find her. So you will need me. Well, I will know where to find you.
Exactly.
And that's what leads me to believe. No, we'll talk about that. I've got some ideas on where this may go, because Janessa and I, we can't. This has been a show that I can't believe what's actually grown in her, and she loves it so much. She's watching movies without me, like Age of Ultron. She was watching last night. I couldn't believe I walked out of the back bedroom after doing a show that we did yesterday, and she's watching it.
I know, that's great. How dare she?
You're telling me. I mean, I've been wanting to watch it with her, and she watched it without me. But anyway, I mean, that whole thing happens, and all of a sudden, they're standing there, and we missed the whole part where, once again, then now we're back down on the ground.
Yeah,
where the army was there, and then the boys took care of them.
Yeah, the boys took care of. I mean, the stuff that's happened on the ground is a little nominal and not as important as all the other stuff we just talked about. So basically, the military gets taken down. The boys take their guns, and they don't really know what to do. And I mean, you just you see all this magic flying around. You just stand down. Just hopefully this blows over. But what's his name? Director Hayward. He's still on a mission, man. He shoots at the kids, and Monica jumps in front of the bullets. And Tommy slows down the bullets with his powers and stuff. So they kind of work together, and Monica's just embracing these newfound, super heroics in her.
You're like, whoa, nice move.
Yeah. They complimented each other. And Hayward, he is about to, I guess, hop in the Humvee and run him over. And that part,
what a big move. I mean, come on.
Darcy comes in for the save with
Darcy,
the old ice cream truck or the food truck.
Yep. And she's like, I'll see you in jail or something on those lines.
And then apparently Darcy hightails it out of there, because we don't. It's just like White Vision did. You're like, okay, see ya. I gotta get out of Westview.
Yeah, she doesn't. Yeah, she wants gone now.
Yeah,
she's like, yeah, I'm not into debriefings. But we didn't get an engineer.
No.
So we got no engineer. That was just all of us hyping it up. So there was nobody special, no special engineer coming. So there was that debunked. But yeah, no mutants. Mephisto, yeah. It was, oh, dude. But I mean, now we're really getting into like the heartstrings of the episode. This is where it hit me. And it was like, I'm like fighting back things, because there's a point where the boys and Wanda and Vision are all standing together. And Wanda and Vision look at each other, and they know what needs to take place. Because he said, there was a line that Vision said, we're going to set things right, but not for us. And they both understand what that means.
Yeah.
And the boys have no idea what's really going on.
Yeah.
And I mean, and it's a good thing. They played this angle perfectly.
Yeah.
They walked them, showing back up at the house. They get back into their like time period clothes that they should be in, and then they're putting the boys to bed. And man,
and meanwhile, the hex is shrinking. Basically, slowly but surely, the hex is shrinking down to nothingness until it's still basically surrounding their house. Everything outside the hex is going back to normal, 2020 era stuff.
Yeah, because the house was ground zero.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So Vision and Wanda, they understand that they have to say goodbye to this life together that they've created. Putting the boys to bed, just knowing. And as she walks out, you mentioned this was a line that gutted you, but she turns around walking out of their bedroom and she tells the boys, thank you for choosing me to be your mom.
Dude, honestly, right now I'm like,
you're getting together.
hold it together. We talked about it in prior shows, like things like this. As I get older and having kids, hits me harder than it did, say, than if I was, say, early 20s.
Yeah.
But I mean, just the fact that you see that there's a point of vision that you're getting in these last couple scenes of the show. You're seeing emotion out of Vision, which we never seen before. When he was standing in the doorway, when she said, "Thank you for choosing me to be your mother," you seen grief in
the
his
anguish.
face.
Sure. And then later down in the living room where it's just Wanda and Vision talking to each other. And he's like, basically, what am I at that point? They're trying to answer it. And Wanda kind of tells him how he came about. And, you're a piece of the Mind Stone that lives within me. And he says something along the lines of, at some point I was a body with no soul, and then I was a soul with no body. And now I'm a memory of yours come to life. And who knows what I'll be again, and they had to say goodbye one more time.
Yeah.
And he tells her, we have to say goodbye now, but it just means we'll say hello later. And you feel that.
Yeah.
Like in that moment, I was just like, God, all I want is for Wanda and Vision just to be okay and together. Can we just have that MCU?
Yeah.
Well, the whole universe is trying to tear him apart.
And then you've seen him cry. You've seen a tear.
Yeah.
And once again, that's a side of Vision that never existed prior to this show.
Right.
And it could be the emotion that's coming through from Wanda that's put into him that he wouldn't have had before. Because, I mean, they showed in the prior episode when he comes in, when she's sitting on the bed at the Avengers compound.
Right.
And there's he doesn't, there's no emotion to him really, period. He's just full android. And he's curious and he's talking. He knows he wants to be there, but he doesn't know why he really wants to be there.
Yeah, it's just great stuff, man. I mean, we had the bang zoom pow of like the finale of the plot with a lot of the action and the plot lines with who the villain of the story is, that kind of thing. But all this stuff with the family in the house as the hex is closing in on them and them saying goodbye to each other, and just the theoretical and contextual thing that they're talking about the soul and who am I as a person, and saying goodbye and all that stuff was just like, whoa, like what an emotional punch to the face.
I got what I wanted. I got that Shakespearean type tragedy, because I felt like it was still a tragedy.
Yeah,
all
epic.
the people were released of her control,
right.
But then she lost what was dear to her again.
Yeah.
So it was just one. It's just another line in losses that she has, in her history. I mean, it's just one thing after another. She hasn't gotten a W. She's taken the L every single time.
Yeah.
And there's gonna be. I think they're lining it up where she's gonna be the next Thanos.
Really, that big?
I think it's going to be that big. So what I really think it's going to wind up happening, and I'm going to refer us to our last clip here, because I think it's going to be based off this. So this is, if you guys did not watch the credits, first of all, how dare you? Because now
those credits, this one had two.
So the first one was when they were, it was Monica being called into the theater and those scrolls, and the guy upstairs wanted to see her. Guy upstairs, you think that was
it's got to be Nick Fury.
Yeah, because you see Fury in Spider-Man Far From Home on the ship with the scrolls.
Yeah,
that's the only person I can think of makes sense.
Yeah, so this is where Monica is going to go. She's going to be in the Captain Marvel sequel. She's probably going to be interacting with Nick Fury. We're going to see their relationship and scrolls and stuff. So that just makes sense.
Nick Fury finds his way in every single Marvel property. If it's just by name or by hint or hook or by crook, he's there somehow.
That's right, yeah.
Then there was this scene here. Now, it led up to, I mean, you see him coming in, you see him coming over like a field in the mountains. You know what it gave me the feeling of? And this is where my Thanos theory comes from.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like the cabin Thanos retired to.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see that.
When they first found him. So it's kind of the same feel. He's kind of just out there, isolated. I did what I come to do type thing.
Yeah.
But in this one here, while we see Wanda sitting on the porch, and then we walk in the house, and we still see Wanda, and we go by her, and then they show this.
And that's it. That's the end of WandaVision.
That's I'm like what? Because she hears the boys.
Yeah.
So I think they're setting up to be the big baddie because she's reading from the Darkhold. She's studying from the Darkhold. We don't know the timeline. We don't know how much time has passed between when we see her in Westview and then when we see her in this cabin.
Yeah.
So we don't know that, how much time has taken place there. She's clearly learned how to, astro project her body.
Right.
So that's already taken place. Now she's here. That was clearly the boys. So they have either I personally want, which I'm not going to get, is a full-fledged Wanda movie. Give me something that is clearly her.
Yeah.
And say, for instance, her and Agatha have to team up, and there is a Mephisto. And that's where the boys are coming from. So I think the boys are connected. I still will hold to that Mephisto thing. Definitely with the boys, hearing them again.
Yeah.
I don't think the boys are completely gone because they're a part of him.
Oh yeah, no, they're not gone. That's why she heard him. So I loved the scene, just like zooming into this cabin, because we see the two Wandas basically that we saw develop in the show. The wife and mother kind of like chillax, sipping the coffee outside the cabin, and then this uber super witch inside, just with her power just growing with every turn of the page, which is, and we know we know that she's going to be in the Doctor Strange sequel, Multiverse of Madness. My whole question is, I think there is a good chance that she is maybe the villain of that, given the setup here, the way they tee off from here. She could either be the big bad of that story, or maybe she unlocks something or awakens something just reading the Darkhold that she herself can't control, and inadvertently, because she is inexperienced and it's a form of like chaos magic. Chaos magic in itself is unwieldy, right? It's chaos. Yeah. So maybe she inadvertently awakens something like a Mephisto, like some sort of ancient being that she doesn't know how to take care of. So who do you go in a circumstance like that? You go knock on the door of the Sorcerer Supreme in Manhattan.
I don't think so. I honestly believe if something like that happens and that scenario takes place,
yeah,
I say get rid of Strange. Strange will be a part of it, but she won't go to Strange. I think she goes back to Westview, and she gets with Agatha. And
if the movie was called the Wanda movie, I think you're right, but I don't think Doctor Strange is taking a backseat in his own movie.
Well, I don't think he will. I think it's going to be kind of a side-by-side thing.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be one movie either. This may
really?
I think this may be like we've got Iron Man had a length of movies. A majority of them were connected together. I think we may get a block, or it may be one that leads into another Avengers movie where this is his movie and they're happening. And then he's got to, get together with whoever Captain America is and, Banner and Ant-Man and everyone, because she's with, Agatha, and Agatha is teaching her. Like, she struck a deal with her. She gave her, her actual magic back, and she is now mentoring her on, how to control what she needs to do.
Yeah, like Apollo Creed and Rocky.
Yeah, and then she leads her down to a road of being able to get the boys back. You know, I see that. I see that in the future for her. Now, how they actually go about doing it, I don't know. I mean, however they're going to do it. I mean, Marvel hasn't had a misstep. They've had some lower level Marvel movies, but even a lower level Marvel movie is a lot better than a lot of others.
I just know on a meta level, I know that Marvel is trying to set up the Young Avengers, which is a comic series.
Oh, you think they're going that route?
They absolutely are, because they're setting up in the new Disney Plus Hawkeye series that's coming out. Hawkeye is training his daughter to basically take the mantle. She's one of them. Wiccan and Speed are on the Young Avengers. They were introduced in WandaVision. They're definitely coming back. I don't know if they're going to be the 10-year-old version that we see, or if they're going to grow up a little bit and be more like teenage, young actor kind of thing.
How would they explain that though? That's going to be the
They'll
difficult
find a
thing.
way. We hear their voice. I mean, they're there. They are. We hear them call out for mom. So they're not. They didn't disappear. They are somewhere.
Yeah.
So we're going to follow up with that. But yeah, I know that they're starting to introduce a lot of these younger characters that are part of the Young Avengers. So I don't know if that may be the next big team up movie. I don't know. We'll see.
However they do it, I'm down for it. I'm on. Now, the thing is though, like I messaged you earlier today, is like there's going to be a hole next Friday.
Yeah.
Like this is a show that has had me from the minute I stopped watching it on Friday, waiting in anticipation for the following Friday, and not being able to wait till we actually get on and do what we're doing here and talking about it.
Yeah.
It's been so much. And there's going to be a little gap between this and Falcon Winter Soldier. Maybe I think it's a couple weeks before that one actually starts up. But there's no way they can live up to this. It's going to be a different show. This, like you said, this show had nothing. It was not about the action.
Yeah.
It was about the brokenness of Wanda, the emotion that she was going through, which was like fantastically like told to us to the point where we started feeling, Wanda's, pain.
Yeah. I agree. Like, I'm looking forward to Falcon and Winter Soldier. Of course, it's another MCU long form story, which apparently they know how to do well. But I just doubt that Falcon and Winter Soldier is going to have the same sort of emotional depth that WandaVision had. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to it. But this was such a treat, man. Like, as far as Marvel's debut, making a TV show that's solidly within the MCU, and they confirmed it by Kevin Feige. It's not Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or all the other ones that have been
Well, they
around.
brought the Darkhold from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. over. That was a book that was originally introduced in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, but the continuity between Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and
there really wasn't any.
official MCU has been kind of, not like a thread, hanging by a thread, basically. But this is like official. This is solid. Like what happens on Disney Plus is in the MCU.
Yeah.
It's definitely connected.
Everything is connected. Anything that happens, any characters you see, you can see them in other movies, just like you would see, in a Stinger and of Iron Man 2.
Yeah, I mean, they swung for the fences with this show. Just the format of starting out with just the sitcoms, nobody really knowing what the heck the show is about, and slowly
balls to do this.
Yeah,
because calling it WandaVision after we see Vision die was like, what? Where are we going with this? How are we doing this? What's happening?
Yeah,
and man, it
knocked it out of the park.
It was easily a home run. And I mean, I'm looking forward to being able to sit down. I wanted to do a full rewatch yesterday, leading into today, and time just got away from me. I wasn't able to do it.
Yeah, I mean that's a time commitment.
So I plan on sitting down and watching it all the way through, and just enjoying it, knowing the ending,
right,
and then watching it, for what it is, binge style.
Yeah.
So it's man. And then actually having all my theories, don't even worry about them. I'm just watching it for what it is.
Right. Yeah, I'm there with you too. I mean, it was completely satisfying as far as this arc for these characters and this plot, and leaving enough tendrils for the future to be super interested in what's coming our way next.
Yeah, I told Janessa, Wanda is easily my favorite character in the MCU currently.
Wow.
And the reason I feel that is she is the most developed character in
now,
the MCU. From start to end. I mean, we know her history, we know, her pain, we know kind of where she's heading in a way. We don't have that from anybody else. And on top of all that, she's a straight badass.
Right.
I mean, I love how she can both show empathy and you will know who I am.
That's right. Boy, yeah, I keep thinking back to that in that Endgame scene where Thanos is like, I don't even know who you are, and she says, you will. And boy, she was talking to the audience. She was like, you may be tangentially aware who the heck I am as a character, but you'll know coming soon. WandaVision.
Well, sitting there watching the second half of Ultron with Janessa last night, it was watching Hawkeye talk to her.
Yeah.
And it was like convincing her, either you can stay here and I can send, your brother to come get you, or you go out there and you may die, but you will be one of us. You will be an Avenger. And when Hawkeye first goes out there, I don't think he believes she's coming.
Right.
And then she busts the door open. And then all of a sudden you see her unleash on all these like Ultron robots. And it was just like, that was the birth of what we know.
And just that dynamic between those two characters, because essentially you have Hawkeye, which, on the face of it, kind of the least powered hero within the Avengers. I mean, the guy can shoot arrows really well. Like, God bless him. We love Clint Barton. But at the end of the day, he felt overwhelmed. Like, look, I'm just a guy shooting arrows here, and there's all kind of magic and superpowers going around me. And he's convincing, basically, we didn't know it at the time, but the most powerful Avenger that there is, Scarlet Witch, to go out there and get into the battle. It's just so funny how, like, hindsight, you're able to see those things for what they were.
Yeah. I mean, even Disney came out and said, like, Age of Ultron has got a huge boost.
Oh, it has to.
In views from WandaVision just because of this. So, I mean, I want more. I'm not getting any more, man, but I want so much more. I can't wait to see her on the big screen. That's what I want next. I want to see her full-fledged Scarlet Witch on the big screen, and I don't want to see them do her wrong.
Right. No, they already did this so right for so long for the series. Like, don't mess it up.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to see them. I don't want to see a flipping character, like, immediately. I don't want to see her all of a sudden be, like, learning because what she's doing. I don't want her to see her to flip completely bad. I don't want her to see her flip completely good. I want her to be like a Loki. That's kind of the feeling I want from her for a little while before she decides to go all Scarlet Witch and, chaos magic and bring the end of the world type thing that, Agnetha was talking about.
Yeah.
Or if she's going to go the other route and actually work with the Avengers.
Yeah.
I want her to be like a wild card. That's just kind of what I want out of her.
And honestly, even down the line, mutants are coming. At some point we're going to have a Magneto and a Professor X in the MCU, whether it's, a year or two or 5 years down the line. But it is coming for sure. I'm interested in seeing how Wanda fits into that whole dynamic too, given her comic book history. So,
well, they washed that away. I think they completely retconned the Magneto is her father. Based on the backstory that we got with her, back in Sokovia, with her parents dying and everything. I think that solidified who the MCU is calling her parents.
Yeah, that could be. I mean, maybe they just change it up for this particular character because she was introduced. But still, I mean, the question is out there. We don't know for sure yet how her and mutants are going to,
what would be interesting is if she is the Scarlet Witch, and she is still what we know her as of the end of this show. And then Magneto shows up. And his feeling is, the humans don't respect us. They fear us. Let's make them fear us. What if she teams up with him? Those two side by side could be devastating.
Well, hey, the same way that there was just some random schlub here in the MCU that looked like the Quicksilver of the Fox universe. Who knows? Like, maybe eventually we have a Magneto that's introduced in the MCU, and he sees Wanda, and he's like, "My God, you look just like my daughter." But because we're entering into multiverse status here, maybe there was Wanda Maximoff in this other universe, wherever. I don't know. It's so head trippy. There's just all kinds of questions as far as what's coming.
We're setting ourselves down a road that there is no coming back from.
Yeah,
and it's all due to Marvel themselves.
Yeah. So I think that's going to do it for this week and for WandaVision as a whole, the WandaVision After Show presented by Dadnarok, of course. So great series. Me and Chris loved it. Go ahead, and there's going to be a big hole next week, as Chris mentioned, but we're going to be filling it here with a high voltage episode. We'll be back next Friday for one of our Dadnarok high voltage episodes. And be sure to like and subscribe on YouTube, our YouTube channel. Go ahead and check us out, dadnarok.com. You can find our merchandise at TeePublic. You can find our audio podcast, of course, everywhere you can download audio podcasts. And is that Wanda right there next to you? Is that little Wanda Maximoff?
So, yeah, guys, I mean, I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as we did. This was amazing. And we're looking forward to continuing these after shows. If you haven't watched any of these and this is the first one you've checked out, if you're binge watching, WandaVision, check us out in between, or check us out afterwards to see what we thought, to see if it lines up with what you thought. And well, I guess we'll see them next time. What do you think?
Yeah, we'll be back later. We'll be back with a kind of a typical high voltage episode, and then once Falcon and Winter Soldier comes out, we'll be there too.
Okay, guys. Well, until we see you next time, be sure to keep it cheesy.
See ya.